Hello and welcome to Asylum Atelier. Welcome to our painting discourse. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to dark side. I don't know. It's really dark in my studio today. Extremely. I think this is the darkest I've seen it here ever. But it's kind of cool because I have to rely on my knowledge today more than anything else. But I'm not going to be, looking for excuses not to paint and procrastinate because it's really dark. It feels like it should snow, but then nature decided that it's going to rain. So it's like that kind of, winter snowy kind of a sky, which is like a full, like everything is covered. It's a true overcast. So everyone who loves to do 3D scanning should be extremely happy right now because this is a perfect diffuse light. And also, this is kind of a Delacroix thing. You could go outside right now and observe because everything is defined with a kind of a very soft, almost non-existing shadows. So it's just all about like kind of a desaturated pigments that work together as values before anything else. So this is not really something that I don't know, impressionists would enjoy. You know what? Who would enjoy this? Watercolorists. They love that kind of a wet and glossy and reflections and so on and so forth. So maybe watercolorists would be happy about this weather. And yeah, so, and since this is a studio that it's oriented like a slightly towards the, let me just double check. Yeah, I'm just double checking whether or not I'm lying. I'm not. So since this studio, I was looking for some, some blue sky somewhere. And since the studio is turned towards like a northwest, I would say. Yeah, I would say northwest, but way more north and slightly west, because you remember I'm catching a little bit of light at the end of the day, but it's just really in the corner. That means that I really are receiving only a bounce light, and since it's the dispersion everywhere, so there is not enough bounce light that comes into my window, so that's why it's so dark, right? I'm pretty sure the windows on the other side they have more light, or actually more that direction, because that would be south, somewhere around there. But anyway, that's about I forgot. This is not a weather broadcast, a stream. So let's get to painting. You remember, this is a continuation. Obviously, I'm trying to be a little bit more organized, and it's part 4, and I would like to focus on the portrait, as I mentioned last time in the previous stream. And believe it or not, remember. Last time I named it actually color harmonies, and we were talking about a color a little bit, but how to harmonize it. But I also mentioned one thing, that I'm going to use that strategy of adding a little bit of that raw umber into my white together with boiled linseed oil or stained oil or sun-dried linseed oil. Depends on, a manufacturer, depends on your needs. You can use one of those. It's like a very thick, creamy, honey-like consistency of oil. Let me show you what I mean. So it's so you have a better understanding. So it's like a honey. You can see it's just a really slowly, like it's not like a regular linseed oil, which is really runny, and it's almost like a liquid. So I use this mixed with calcite. I believe it's a proper term for that. I mentioned that I'm going to paint this way. First of all, because I want slightly off-white. Second is that I need a little bit of transparency into it, which that calcite and stand oil or sun-dried oil or boiled, whatever you want to call it, it's going to give me. And also the important part was that I want it to be touch dry. And it is. Well, some places, right? There's some really thick chunks with the texture, but it's mostly okay. So the experiment worked. You see, I catched just a little bit on my finger, but it was really just that's really a big blob right here of a pigment. But even some of these, like a thicker areas right here, they are all dry. Not dry, but they're exactly the way that I wanted to. So I can start actually placing another pigment on top of it without sliding or scraping or destroying the layer or mixing the layer underneath. That means that if I choose today to do those ornaments, I wouldn't be picking up the whiteness or the light pigment from underneath, and I would have just clear, nice, beautiful color, which is what I'm aiming for, right? So I can actually come in right now and start working on the specific details without being afraid that I'm going to mix these pigments together, because it's sticky, but it's not. I can't wipe it off anymore. It's just gonna. It's almost like a permanent stain there. So. So that's our plan. The things that we discussed, we prepared, we assumed, worked. So that's awesome. So who cares about that it's slightly darker than would like to? Well, then I can maybe work a little bit more with values today rather than with the color when it comes to the portrait. And I can maybe start laying down some adjustments for this. And interestingly enough, this area right here, which is 2-3 days old, it's still wet. Like some of these areas are still wet. The black, same thing. I add that umber into black, and it works like some kind of a magical fast drying a medium. So take a note of this in your own setup. Which pigments are actually drying really, really fast, which are drying really, really slow, and then you can start, testing the times and maybe schedule yourself better or create the environment that you can then continue working with the flow that you prefer. That's something that we should all, as a professionals, we should all experiment with, and being perfectly familiar with your palette and what you're not only when it comes to mixing the colors, but that behind, beyond that, just I mix yellow with blue, I'm going to get green. That's the hobbyists are doing this, all right? So that's what I meant, because that's actually kids in the school are learning these things in the preschool, I believe. And when you mix these colors together, you got a green. So when you mix primaries, you get secondaries. So yeah, so that's cool. Another thing is I did a new setup for the camera, so it should work today. And it has been 10 minutes, and 15, and it's working. So I'm surprised. Things are so it's just painting is where it's supposed to be. The camera is working, so the light cannot be perfect. So it's just another stream. So yeah, just a regular stream that we usually have. So that's kind of okay. You were about to comment how well behaved? Yeah, because I did the different setup. I actually went, I actually decided that I'm going to get a long cable USB, I think it's 5 meters, to all the way here. So it does not, so it's not connected wirelessly, but I'm going to hook it to cables. It's just, you don't, it's just it's a little bit of hassle because I wanted to use this long USB cable for a third camera, and right now I see that everything needs to be hooked. And right now my dongle situation and my cable management it's pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. There is no really I don't know. It looks pretty bad, but luckily you can't see it, so it's all good. So it's all good. Hopefully one day I'm going to be able to deal with this. How would I put this? Deal with this setup a little better, maybe. I don't know. I still think that there are a little bit more important things that cable management. I don't know. I might be wrong. Let's see. The future will tell. Rembrandt is ready. Let's open the Rembrandt. Let's go right into a portrait because I don't want to say that I'm going to waste time with sunlight, or I'm not going to burn sunlight because I don't really see any sunlight. But I really have to move along with this painting. So, and this is another great lesson for me, and not only for me, but for all of you that struggling with scheduling yourself. Well, if you think that you can paint 8 hours a day, therefore you need 20 hours, it's 4 days. And then what if something happened like today that it's really dark, I can work on it. What if you're gonna miss some colors, or you run out of some pigments, you have to go and get it, so you're gonna miss another day. There might be some other issues that you have to, that you did not think about with that scheduling. So you're gonna end up like me, rushing things through even the days like this. So if there's something, again, from this stream that you might wanna really think about is schedule yourself adequately, I would say. Maybe that's the word. Properly, even. Oof. And I already see beautiful Rembrandt painting that actually kind of fits to what I'm doing. Check this out. This is a self-portrait with open mouth. It was done circa 1628, and it's on panel, and it's in Indianapolis Museum of Art. So that's the picture that I'm looking at. For those of you who are actually are interested in what that's not, oh, actually let me move it here so you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you check this out, this is the portrait. You can see that it has a similarities with what I need as well, right? So it has that a side that it's lit, and then it has that shadow. So this is something that it's kind of a cool picture to study or refer to if I when I'm going to start painting right now. So I see he placed the highlight where I need to place it. There is a nice soft shadows. There are nice transitions. So, and he's beautifully defining the reflected light there, even though it's really, really dark. He was not. He was still being like very much in the Baroque style, right? So everything is dark, just a little bit of light. Of course, then he got a little bit more Or maybe, you know what, it might be just because the painting was not cleaned, so it's really, really dark and dirty, so we can't see all the beautiful, intricate adjustments in the shadow. So something like that. I'm looking for these paint, and Rembrandt has a you know, plethora of these in his repertoire. So there is a plenty to choose from. It was the first one that just, you know, jump into my mind, or jump into my view. So so that's something that I really have to rely on right now a lot, only because I don't have a live model here. And even with a live model right now under these conditions, the shifts in tone and temperatures and saturation would be extremely subtle, so it can get quite tricky. But this is actually a beautiful light because it's very soft. So that's another thing, understanding that what light like this does. It's exact opposite of what we used to when we think about like direct artificial light, right? So everything is soft. There are no hard edges whatsoever. Okay, this is another good example. Maybe this one. This is just a sketch though. But I'm looking for that, you know, I'm looking for the color combination. I'm looking for that movement, chin, a little bit of that facial hair. So this is all cool. So you can see, I can see more of this, more of happening there. And that's exactly what I need. So I hope that you are getting ready to paint alongside, while I'm just, again, being stuck with a Rembrandt's book. So which is, I know, I should, you know. But you know, when I start, it's like a, you know, yesterday we were talking about that galleries and things being on demand very easily these days, like, you know, YouTube Shorts and Instagram stories and so on and so forth, TikTok. So it's just, you know, you're doom scrolling. I think that's the proper term to describe it these days. So I'm doom listing through Rembrandt's book. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just it's an addiction. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what it is. Bam, we got it. This is the guy. And I'm looking on the old man with the golden chain. It's all on panel. The Art Institute of Chicago. If you're, you know, interested of what painting I'm looking at right now. Yep. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but it's a little too soft. So let's continue and let's go into his later years, where he's a little bit more, a little rougher and a little older. I want to see how he deals with. I'm probably going to go all the way, not into when he has these paintings of old people, but his self-portrait. The one with light background, where he drew these semicircles. I just don't know. Because you can see this also in Rembrandt, and I was thinking about this, and I wasn't sure if I should mention it, but when you think about it, he really later on, and I think it also derives from the fact that he already is established portrait painter. So he ventured into these like really weird portraits that he painted. They're not really what people were. I'm pretty sure that it's not what people were expecting, but I think that they are. I mean, there's a lot of. Where is that? Where is that portrait that he did? Ah, there it is. It's the last one. Yeah, yeah. It's just super cool. Like the hand, and I'm talking about the self-portrait with palette and maul stick. It's really rough. Really, really rough, but beautiful. I mean, this one of a. This is the one that I'm talking about. I should have another camera pointing on the book, I guess. So I'm just gonna have cameras everywhere. You see that? Yeah, I can. I'm probably gonna. There are some ideas that I want to do, but first, what's important for me is getting that likeness. Let me rephrase that. It's not important for me, but when you think about it, and I was really how would I put this? Well, I'm still conflicted, and yesterday I just I went a little bit more into that inner thought, and today it's a similar thing, but with the portrait, because it's not that I have to paint it accurately, but since it should be a representation of a real person. I should get as close to likeness as possible, and that's why I mentioned that Rembrandt's early life, that he's getting the likeness. We don't know, but according to other sources, that they had a chance to compare painting and the living person, and since he had so many commissions in his not early but mid-career, and very, very important commissions, it means that he was hitting the likeness like no one's business. So he established himself as a portrait artist based on the accuracy rather than based on coolness of his paintings. I don't know how to say it. I hope you know what I mean. So. And I don't want to be established. I do not aspire to be an established portrait painter, but that's a norm, accepted and expected norm. So naturally, I'm thinking about that because I was, working a little bit on that portrait, and I felt like, oh, this is something like Matisse would paint. Matisse, it's like a that hyperrealism, exactly. But that's expected norm, because when people think about portrait artists these days, your direct competitor, it's not another portrait painter, it's a photography. And another thing is that everybody perceives people differently, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, his wife, for example, or his kids, they spend so much time with him that they understand these nuances of his facial expressions. I don't. That's another big problem, and he's not here. So it's kind of difficult, and that's why most of the time when you want to get, well, to be safe, to get that likeness of people, oh, it's so and so, you're just going for that photorealism, unfortunately. So I'm kind of, you know, but you know what? It's just, let's see what's going to happen. I'm just going to start throwing pigment around and see what I like. Because I believe that if you are still watching and, you know, you're part of this, I'm pretty sure you by now know that that's what I would do anyway, unfortunately. So, you know, I shouldn't, I don't think that I'm going to start my career here as a commissioned portrait painter, unfortunately. I shouldn't have said that because I lost credibility here, but it is what it is. And I prefer to be, I actually had a discussion the other day with one very interesting person, and they asked me about, like, what do you do in these situations? And like, do you say the truth that you don't want to paint this, or do you take that commission and you just, you know, power through? And the honest answer is that I try to be honest to everyone. I know that it's about money at the end, and about the commissions, and people want those paintings. People want them. I want them to like them because I want them to be happy with the result. They want to like them usually because they pay for it. They paid for it. And that's a problem with the commission paintings, that you know, you're kind of paying in advance for something that you're not sure that you're going to get. So that's, you know, where the most of the pressure lies, even with this a particular painting. But since we established that, you know, I just want to have it my way, there's a lot of glare here. I need to do something. This is going to be annoying. I guess I have to. Not really. I'm catching a lot of glare. I don't know how to deal with it. Well, I'll probably have to block it with my head. I know that feeling. I don't see myself doing portrait commissions forever, but it's a great way to keep money going so I can keep buying art supplies. Well, you're absolutely right, but don't say this out loud. I did, but don't. People definitely don't want to hear that. I made myself really strong tea. It's like this tea is so. Ooh. It's so strong. It tastes like coffee. Oh. So I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Okay, let's go for it. Let's get the mixtures ready. I'm gonna probably go old school since since I don't see and I'm not sure what's happening. So I'm gonna go I'm gonna go, you know, limited palette and some this is Naples yellow, Naples yellow. Let's just get a yellow ochre. I can still use this for some areas. Yeah. Let me push it away. Clean it up a little bit because I still want to have a little bit of that for the textures. So I want to keep that little more pasty pigment. So I want to save it. This is a little different yellow ochre, slightly stronger. Brighter. So I'm bringing up the good stuff. Do you have that? I have the black. I have this. Okay, what do I need? It would be really, really nice to have that vermilion. Just saying. So next time, maybe I shouldn't use it for painting Fridays and leave it for commissions, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to move this tea somewhere else because I'm 100% going to dip my brush into it. Ooh, the sun's coming out a little bit, or it's getting brighter. All right, and I need a little bit more of a this is the one. Of this, and a little bit of that stand oil and calcite that I mixed. There. Nice. All right, I think I'm ready. Yellow, ochre, cadmium, black, a little bit of blue, umber, cyanus. I have that. Okay, I think I'm good. All right, so let's start. I might be a little quiet today because this is going to be a little more challenging that for me. And I might actually go with a full background because I'm not sure if I'll be able to do a portrait like immediately. Let me see. Let's see. It's super dark there. Yeah, I feel your pain. I really do. It's really dark here as well. Like a commercial, people drink Red Bull and then, you know, they gain wings. Yes, yes. I mean, I hope that you're referring to that tea because it's really, I mean, it really tastes like coffee. I'm afraid that, do you know how strong it is? I'm afraid that if I put a teaspoon there, it's going to stay in the middle. That's how strong I made it. But it's a, you know, it's a difficult task ahead of us. So. But I mean, my teeth are trembling. That's how. Ugh. Noise. Okay, I see immediately a couple mistakes. So let's maybe correct those proportional issues that I have there. Or should I just wing it and go for it? Nah, maybe yeah. I don't know what kind of color of eyes he has. Well, that's another thing that I don't even know that. Once in a while, I make my tea super strong too for the caffeine, that it tastes like coffee. So I know what you mean. Yes, exactly. Sometimes, time to time, just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So he has his hair right here, like a grayish, and then it goes all the way. What if I just a little bit trim his hair here? Let me wipe it off. A little bit, yeah, way better. Because I'm trying to get his character, and especially like when it comes to that outside edge. It should be him. This should go darker. And I still have, believe it or not, this is the white that I used for that costume, and this is that mixture of for the underpainting. So I still have it. So I'm going to do and adjust a couple things there. I don't think I should, but just a bit. I just want to see from a distance how close I am to desirable shapes. I think that this might be too long. Yeah, that's better. That's way better. And it should go a little lower this way. Okay, that's what was making it, because all these elements are making his head little, maybe a little too big, maybe a little too wide, a little too short. So I'm really trying to pay attention to these small adjustments right now. And this is really finishing touches, not necessarily with painting, but more in terms of like even overall composition and overall feeling. It's going to be a darker value right here, which is going to be the shadow, and then the lighter value here, because it's catching a light on the top, right here, and then there's a lot of light right here because of that beautiful pattern. But I'm going to try to just place it with a nice brush stroke, I think, like a loaded yellow ochre mixture. So I create those. And then there is that little middle element that it's right here. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, but there's a weird kind of a edge to it here, and then it goes up. Oops. And it goes up a little bit. Yeah, right now it looks better. I'm not sure if you actually see anything changed, but these small adjustments for likeness, I think they're crucial. And right now, I'm not necessarily talking only about the likeness of a portrait, but like the kind of overall believability of that this might be actual real costume. Because if you are, and for a regular person, and I'm not saying right now that well, let me put it this way. Someone who is not familiar with this type of culture, and this is not only, I'm not talking about foreigners necessarily, I'm talking about like, people from my region, unless you are really into this kind of, traditional music or folk music, I don't think that you would be able to find the differences. But there are some key elements that you should definitely have. I still think that his face is a little too wide. Let me just remeasure that. From this point to here, to this point to here, from this point to here. No, this is a proper measurement, as close as I can get, but the angles are slightly wrong. So it's going more this way. Maybe ear, it's too big right now, so it should go a little lower. This is where his neck ends. Get a little closer. This could go a little bit more here. Yeah, slightly. These are really minute adjustments. I know I'm already like in a position that I might not even need to do this. It's just I want to really get that character of his. Bring that all the way here. And then right now I can trim it a little bit from this side. Yep. Now we're talking. Yeah, now it is more like him. Okay, cool. I have to make sure that his head is still big enough for his oh, excuse me. Oh. So right here, right here is the shadow. This one, and it's going right here. Ears have to be this way. So I'm right now cleaning up the light areas or the light side because I want to make sure, you know, like I'm looking at, like even when you think about that Rembrandt, I'm trying to find a nice light shape against the dark shape. And I kind of like that, what I'm thinking about, it's like the continuous dark shape right here, and then it can even nicely move through this. Right? Because this is going to be dark and this is going to have the ornaments here. And then I have to go and finish that final. Like, where is this going to go? Maybe I could make a little. Go this way and here. Let me see. Maybe I could grab a. Where's my charcoal? Maybe I could grab a charcoal here because I would have an easier time to. And it needs to get a little thinner here. So it should go this way. Is this going to work? I think it might. I think it might. Maybe that's just too much of a, maybe let me push it a little bit more this way, compositionally. This is just so annoying that it's right on that half. push it even more this way, I guess this is going to be better. Wouldn't be? No. It's just right now it might be a little bit too much composition, or like too straight of a diagonal. So like I said, there is a specific curve to this. So probably what I need to do is to not eyeballing it, but bring the real thing. Is there a store across open? It isn't. Because I have a store across that actually is like, it's also a non-profit organization that kind of groups people together that actually like, these are also craftsmen that they do different types of like Slovakian traditional instruments, and you know, like not only cooking but also clothes and like small knickknacks and well, everything that you could, you know, like that historically relevant to Slovakia, and they might have some there. It's extremely expensive, but they might borrow me that. I have a couple friends there because I promised. Well, I was thinking that I'm gonna borrow my father's, but I think he's using it. And then I have to go and get it, and it's a hassle. I think this is all right. For now, this is all right. This is approximately here. Right? Isn't it a hassle to go get stuff that you need for your work from your parents? It's annoying. You know what? The only annoying thing is that I'm lazy. But then I'm gonna go there, and as always, I'm gonna leave 10 kilograms heavier, because I'm just gonna eat everything that is You don't consider that lazy? Well, I mean, lazy from, like, I mean that, you know, you want to be a really good painter, and you know, just what's going to stop you? Our detour from your regular commute to get these objects right, since they are something that can help you because you don't have a life model. But then, you know, I know that just the logistics again, right? So it's raining outside. I have to cover it because it's wood. It cannot get wet and all that kind of stuff. You know, I don't want to damage it because it's an actual functional working instrument that it's being used, not necessarily daily, but you know what I mean. And depend on the brand. Well, not brand, depend on the wood that it's made of, depend on the master that created it. These can get really expensive, right? And we are in territory of thousands of euros, so I don't want to really damage that instrument. And the other thing is that, you know, like you can always, you know, if it would be as easy as just, oh, I'm going to buy a new one, but you know, it's not even that easy. These are unique instruments because they are all handmade, So you can't just go into a store and get a new one. Even though I just mentioned that there is a store across, but these are all craftsmen. So if you want to, they might have some on display, but they are usually all reserved, and because they're also making them there. They have a little atelier on their own. So when they finish it, they always display it so people can see, but it not necessarily means that you can buy it. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to try it. So that's what I'm going to do. It's just okay. I think I'm getting closer and closer to that desirable likeness or approximation, right? So this is going to be a center of a chin, and then right now it's going up. And here. And then here, going a little bit more in. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here, but okay. I think what I'm doing right now is just, I'm afraid to go into it with pigment, so let's do it. So it's going to be a lighter area right here, so let's throw it there. And let's do some kind of a nice warm mixture. So let's go with a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow ochre, and a little bit of cad, more white. This is too dark. Ooh, let's do a sienna, maybe sienna and, yep. All right, there we go. Did it, or no way back. Brushstroke is there. Ta-da, that's it. I'm done. Right. These are going to be the lighter areas right here. So I'm building up the, usually, because since I already have a half tones, I'm just building up lights right now. All right. Let's go with I'm missing one pigment. I have cad red, but I think that a little bit of I'm looking for a slightly cooler because this red is very warm, and right now I have a very warm underpainting, right? So I'm going to warm it up even more, and I don't necessarily want to do it. I'm sorry, I have to. This is what I need. Because I'm receiving a. I didn't turn off my notification sounds, and I'm receiving notifications. So what I'm looking for, it's like I said, it's a cooler variant of red, and I have two options, but my preferable one is well, it's either English red, which is kind of a, it's not cooler, but since it's darker, I can just mix a little bit white into it, and I have kind of a light warmer. I have a lighter, cooler pigment. So let me just clean this up. Because I don't want to go there with alizarin crimson, because, you know, the obvious reason, the transparency issues. So I'm trying to find a analog for that, and I think that either English red or Indian red, actually, that's what I was looking for. Might be Indian red is really okay, so let's see. Indian is really cool, so be careful with that, because it's just gonna cool down very quickly, everything. You see, like, this is creating a little bit like a cooler red, and I like to use this around the portraits, like when I'm painting portraits. Yep, nice. Especially around these areas of cheeks, and, you know, like, I don't, because sometimes you have these half tones, and when you add, like, when you do desaturated pigment, it just kind of dies very quickly, and I don't want it to be that. I want it to be nice and vibrant. And I also need a little bit of this white and just a touch of black. Because right now, believe it or not, if I mix white with black and place it right here, it's going to be blue. Just to show you what I mean. So I'll grab a white and a little bit of black. And this is just gonna go blue immediately, or green in this particular moment, because I have a brush, I had brush loaded with. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to do that it's connected here. Let's get this. ear needs to be really red, so I'm going to push it into like too much of a red, but that's okay because then I'm going to correct it. And same goes for the nose. Nose going to go red. All the way here. All right. A bit of that desaturated. Yep. I'm just throwing around pigments so I can see what works and what doesn't. So I have something to, you remember, I have something to work with because I don't know, I can't tell, I have nothing to judge it off of, so. There's going to be that shadow and it just goes all the way up here. I'm trying to create that shadow going this way. Just the eye. There is the eye right here. This is the darker area right here, so let's grab that red and a little bit of black, a little bit of this. It's a darker value. Yep, nice. So right here, and there is an eye right here. So this is the darker value of that eye socket that I was talking about. And I'm making it really warm only because, as I'm going to correct these things, I mentioned this a million times, it's just gonna get desaturated immediately. All right. Cool. Nice. And I think this is too dark, so well, maybe not. It's just I don't want to have this shadow like so. So let me switch to I have a different brush, smaller fan brush. this. This is a new one. Well, never mind. It's gonna work. Let's put him in work. Nice. All right. Mhm. I'm working on the armor, and that's not my thing at all. Actually, the whole painting is completely out of my comfort zone, so struggling a bit here. But yeah, I'm doing with the motto today: just lay down the pigment, it'll be fine. What armor are you working on, by the way? Actually, it sounds interesting. Is it like the same thing that I struggled the last time when I was working on that night painting? Is that kind of thing, or is it something different? If you can share. Well, if you can't, if it's an NDA or something, then obviously don't. But I'm really interested. This is dangerous. I'm gonna move it closer here because I'm like I have my paper towels there, and then I'm throwing brushes around. All right, let's do just a touch more of that dark value, a little bit of here. Yep. Ooh, that might be too much. Wow, that's a comment I'm talking about. Okay, I have to sit with into this. It's for a little art challenge with other art friends. It's about aftermath of battle. I'm going a nighttime coast scene with crushing waves with the dead armies. I'm going to call it something like Fight to Surrender. It has some rocks with an Asian keys on the top, inspired by my dream. Smokes a medieval ship, and many people I can share my WIP later tonight via email if you like. Of course, I would love that. I would love that. It sounds awesome actually. I want to paint that. I want to do that. That sounds amazing actually. I mean, good luck with that. That's a complicated thing. How big it is? What size are you working on right now? Oof, this is really off, like by mile. Greenery. I have this. Is this where the light is going to be? I guess. Okay, we're not that far off actually. Now what about the size? I'm looking at the size of the head. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. This is going to be, since you're making a medieval scene, coastline, this is going to be uphill battle for me, but I'm going to push. Yes. The idea is awesome. 100% it's awesome. And I'm back into your comments. I'm sorry, but I never really painted a scene like that before. I did about everything wrong. The flow of the waves are all wrong. But if I don't want to do that, so I'm faking it hard and hope that it looks believable. It's like an ultimate bad painting Friday project. I learned a lot from it, so it's all good. Awesome, awesome. Oh, is it that? Why you? Last time we talked about, not last time. I mean, couple days ago we talked about that. I think I was talking about Archipel, the painters, the Russian ocean or seascape painter. Is it related to that? Or it was just a completely unrelated thing? Let me hit it here, a little harder with the light, and then a little bit here on the lip, this way. Because it sure sounds like that discussion that we had with waves and such. So I threw the pigments around, and right now it looks crude. I understand. Don't worry about that. It's just to get the feel. Yes, it's related to that. Oh, okay. So, all right. I'm receiving some brownie points for remembering stuff. It's going to be a little bit higher up here. I'm mushing it again. Yeah. All right. No worries, no worries, no worries. It's because I can't see that value properly at this light conditions, but you know, I still have to, absolutely must put something down today. So I can scrape something tomorrow. That the name of the game is I need to put something down today on the canvas so I can start scraping tomorrow. Yeah. So that's what's up. This whole thing needs to go darker, so let's push it darker. Let's go a little bit of here and here into this kind of weird. This weird greenish kind of combination, desaturated. Oh, it's a relative green. I should hit it here a little bit with that as well, like where the ear is, because I need to show that jaw line, or angle of a jaw rather, to be a little bit more specific. And this, it's too damn light here, so let's just add a bit, a little warmer, I think, right here, as it goes around and behind. All right, so I'm making the neck a little darker because it's on a different plane. Picture plane. Yeah, not picture plane. When we think about structurally, there is a little bit of light right here because of a skin. And then it's bulging a little bit here. Nice. I have no idea how this is going to look when it comes to color because I can't see color. Well, I'll try to throw some. I'm sorry, I was reading comments. It's pretty. Yep. I will. Let's see what's going to stick. let's work on this eye a little bit. So I need to put kind of a darker tone there. So let's go with the mixture that I have mixed here as a starting point. So this is where our darkest area is going to be. And then there's going to be a lot of redness into it. So let's go with, because I need like uber saturated thing right here, because it's the dark. It's like a shadow. Underneath here. Okay, so I have this. I have to place another eye right away because I want to keep symmetry. This is where problems might start. Because his face, well, nobody's face is symmetrical, but his face is definitely not symmetrical. It's not only by being asymmetric, but it's also with age, right? So the older we get, and it's part of his character, that asymmetry. So I don't know. I'm just going to place it there and at least make a proper. I'm going to make it first symmetrical, then I see what I can do with it. At least to make it proper size. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm gonna grab another, where's my another? So I need a black and white for his eyes. So I'm gonna make his eyes blue. Reference is gone. Yep. Okay, so that's where his eye is going to be, approximately. And I know that you cannot see it, but trust me, it is. Eye is there. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Let's get a little bit more of that eyelid right here, and there's a little lighter value. Let me use these larger brushes, so it's fun. Ooh, that was too bright. Never mind. Oh, I kind of mind. And here's the thing. I have to start reducing amount of pigment that I have there, because kind of I have a hard time to actually place. To put it down, not to place it, put it down. Okay, that's better. That's better. All right, so we have this. This needs to go really soft right here. Like this. Cannot be a harsh transition there. Well, I wish I could show you whether or not it looks like him. I will have to probably figure something. Let me actually do the dot. Oops. All right, I need more. I need black because I want to put that headwear, cap, or whatever you want to call it. I want to do that. Come on, I was just holding that black pigment in my hand. What's happening again? I was just holding it in my hand. Found it. Found it. Let's hit it with that black. Okay, so black. What was the black? A little bit of that redness and a little bit of that amber was in that mixture, if I'm not mistaken. So let's press it there. Let's push it there. This is where the head is going to be. Well, it's starting to look like something, finally. He looks like a Spanish toreador. Toreadore? What's the proper? Okay, and right now I have to do hair. So let me get a little bit of this and this. Right on. Okay, so we have, I probably threw I put all kinds of, from what I can see, his face looks good. Okay, all right, that's cool. Well, you know, it's just, these are just the first this is the first passage, you know, and um, I mean, I don't need to tell you that what's going to happen tomorrow. We all know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a palette knife time and scraping. Because I can already tell okay, I have to go get that tea. It's just, I don't know if it's because it was like it's like last pieces. It's right in the middle, and it was really condensed. Yeah, but still good foundation to start from. Yeah, yeah. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna put a I'm gonna boil water because the tea. Then please remind me that I have that I'm boiling water because I'm gonna forget. Okay, where was I? I was putting this dark pigment there, and then also it's hooked here. So let me just show a little bit of this right here. So it just goes around in the back. So I have something, you know, to show the curvature of the head. It's going to help. But his eyes are too big. Okay. All right. So let's get into that. Let's shorten this distance right here. Let's put it closer here. Yep. And that gives me space to do this and this. Okay. And then this could get this way. Let's get a little bit of this. It's beautiful. Light pigment right here. There. Here. And here. Bit here. So I'm just trying to, you know, narrow his, because I widened his face too much. And I think I have to get rid of this a little bit from there, because it's starting to get wider and wider, and he's not that wide. So let's get rid of this. Let's make like an edge there a little bit. Yeah, a little better. There, and the hair should go all the way till here. So let me get a My water is probably done boiling. Okay, let me see. Thank you though, that because I was, my brain was already in. How am I going to fix the shape of the head? And there are important things like my tea. The funny thing is that I'm so used to. I wanted to start yelling because I thought that I'm going away from the computer, and I forgot that I'm mic'd up. So if I yelled into a mic, for those of you who this might concern, I'm sorry, because I was yelling from behind. Well, it's for those who it concerns. So. Yeah, you're immune to that. Yeah, actually, that's I'm laughing right now because it's like what is this? It's like a permanent potion or something. It's just from video games. Like you have a. It's like in video games when you say that you're immune to that. It sounds like you're Is it pay to win? What is this? Pay to win situation? You need some debuffs. Okay, there will be the jaw. I think I'm making it too wide. Right. This needs to go. All right. See, this is one. I probably have to go with. We'll probably have to go with. I might go with the background though. We'll see. It's just going to be. This is a very nice experiment, actually. Because I've done, like one method or another method. I tried to experiment with combination both methods, but I've never took it as I never even thought that I would be doing that to take it as far as like not like a finished piece. So I'm I'm wondering myself what's going to happen. And I can't really spend that much time with the portrait right now because that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is going to be hands, right? So I have to schedule myself that I need at least, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 days on this. So today I'm going to work on the portrait. I'm going to leave it. Tomorrow it's going to be a hand day. And I'm going to start putting these, what do you call them? I keep forgetting it, the patterns. Oh, this is ideal day. I can hear the rain outside. Well, not for painting, but I love this kind of weather. It makes me feel. Like I would like to start reading a new book. I have a couple of books that I really want to read, like painting related. I want to finish that book. About on Vermeer that I started, and then I have a bunch of other ones. Okay, so let's throw this pigment around. darker here. Kind of like this, but it should probably be a little softer. Yep, like so. And then this is where the really harsh line is. This goes here. And this is the area that needs saturation. But it has to be dark and saturated. Because that's gonna determine a lot, actually. Nice. Okay, that's good. That's good. I have to be careful now because I'm starting to be a little too much. Speaking of that, I am reading Carlson's Guide to Painting Landscape. I think that's what it's called. It was written in 1930. I'm 2 chapters in, and funny thing is in the second chapter he was talking about materials and how to paint with oil. There were a lot of out-of-date information like zinc white and using really toxic mediums and mix it with varnish. LOL, it was hilarious to see how much has changed in 90 years. Oh, this is something, I mean, I would really, you actually brought important point, and I stand up too fast and my head is spinning. You brought up a really important point about, especially like that beginning of 20th century and start of manufacturing and all these different toxic pigments that we were producing, and substitutes like zinc white, which is a cheap substitute for that semi-transparent or semi-opaque pigment, white pigment. And I would really, or highly, well, I would stress this. A lot, that there is that period of really technical advancement. We just jump a lot because of wars and so on and so forth. So it was just, technology was driven, and there was a production of all kinds of weird stuff and stuff substitutes that haven't been tested properly, you know, with time. So that's why many paintings from this era are really, they suffers a lot. And I would be really careful when it comes to these recipes that painters were using, because first of all, you know, during the First World War II, during the Second World War, and a Cold War even, that area or that time period was really sometimes sometimes pigments were scarce. Sometimes they were trying to substitute them with different chemicals and so on and so forth. So it's just no one knew what's going to happen, and it's really dangerous to follow these recipes. I would definitely cross-reference that. We have that really nice kind of a uh, 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 recipes from before that era. Then we have Impressionism, which starting to be like experiments and throwing pigments left and right. And then we go into these, early 20th, second half of the 20th a century, where we have like, I was talking about that Rauschenberg, for instance, a person, a painter, an artist that just really work only with scrap materials, and it's not really. I'm not going to stop you experiment with these things. The only thing that I'm going to say is that just pay attention to these things, be careful, and I wouldn't paint commissions with these experiments ever. So you actually brought a good point that we never talked about. So that sad thing is well, I'm sorry. The sad thing is that he wrote it with such a confident tone that his paintings would last forever by doing this method. Yes, yeah. And you know what? Everybody right now is just like zinc white. It's in the high level of painting, not even high level painting. Even hobbyists know these days that zinc white is something to stay away from. Which is crazy because you can find it in most of titanium white as a cheap substitute or cheap addition to or like filler, and especially when it comes to pigments, I would really stay away from something that they called student grade paint. That's not student grade paint. That's well, it's here on the floor because it was dripping while we were mixing it. So let's scrape it and put it into tube and call it student grade. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And it doesn't matter if it's a very famous European brand or American or Chinese. It doesn't really matter, or Indian. I don't think I've ever used Indian pigments, but I used European, I used American, and I used Chinese and Russian pigments. It doesn't matter which brand it is. Student grade, it means that it's not good. In other words, it's just a literal translation. It means it's not good. It has a lot of fillers and very, very small amount of actual pigment. So it's a lot of binder, a lot of fillers, and very little pigment. And the only thing that you want to have on your painting and in your tubes, it's a pigment. So I would really stay away from these things. Or if you have to, just be careful. I still have some titanium white with zinc I need to get rid of. Might just use it for studies just to use it. Well, I think it's going to be difficult. Well, most of these pigments, most of the titanium whites right now, they have zinc in them. Most of them. It's really difficult to find one without zinc. My only hope is, because I used it not knowing that's what it is, because it's actually written there titanium white, but then when you read labels and which would be really which is important to read these labels for all of us, but sometimes you don't care, and I didn't care either. So but what I'm trying to say is that very few, not all manufacturers are actually putting ingredients on the labels. So I'm not going to name any brands. You can test it yourself, I would be careful. It's just it's my recommendation to you to really, if it's not written there and you ask for it, let's say in a store, if they have like a pamphlet or something about the pigments and they don't have it, check their website, maybe even email them, and if they don't want to give it to you, then I wouldn't work with that brand. Well, of course, if there is no other option, well, then you're just stuck with that brand. But luckily, most of the here in Europe, most of the brands that I purchase and buy, I can find actual information about them, information about it online. So I need to move I a little bit more in. Because it was too far out and he was starting to look like he's looking to different directions. And you don't want to do that. To your portraits, especially. Well, unless it's a specific thing that you're trying to achieve. Right now, I'm changing the angle a little bit, so I have to correct the angle. I had a few students, quality paints, never again. Yeah. At the moment, I'm not too concerned, but in the future, I definitely want to slowly upgrade my practice to ensure that my paintings will last as long as possible. I think that's the only appropriate approach, because you want them to last as long as possible. Like right now, I'm slowly I'm sorry. Like right now, I will slowly phase that white out and only use one without zinc. Online definitely helps. Right now I have Old Holland titanium white without zinc, donated by a friend, so that's nice, but I definitely can't afford Old Holland quality, so you have to find another more affordable brands without zinc. Yeah. What the big tube? I think the big tube was actually Old Holland that I use as well. The titanium white. Yeah, that was the Old Holland, the big one. Because I went to a store and it was on sale, so I was like, "Well, give it to me." So it wasn't that expensive. I think it was like a 20, which in my local store, the small one, really cheap brand, cost 5 and more. So I was like, okay, I'm taking this, but I don't know if I'm going to have the same luck this time when I go there. So, and then like I said, I don't use and I don't like to talk about specific brands, because then people get hung on to, oh, I'm using this and that and I don't know, whatever other. It's like sometimes it's comical. Like you, self helps a lot. Yeah. And it was usually, you know, I always test that pigment before I'm going to buy it, right? So by testing, I mean, you know, it's like, if I'm not familiar with that brand or company or the pigment, I'm probably not going to buy a big tube because I've done that mistake. Like I mentioned, the first tube that I purchased were the big ones from 10 years ago, and I still have them. There it is. I still have it because I didn't like it. It's a large tube of alizarin crimson, and it's not like it would be a bad pigment. It's just it's alizarin crimson. It's not really a way to go when you want to have something a little bit more permanent. So I just never finished it, but I still have it. I'm using it time to time, and I used it for Bad Painting Friday, so it's not like I'm going to throw it away, but I don't really want to use it for the commissions and for paintings that's supposed to last longer. I don't think it's worth it to go to do that, and then being asked to repaint damaged paintings. So I need a little bit of better position for the ear. This is where it should be. It's just, I just wanted to put it higher, but I can't. And this is where, I know what I forgot. I wanted to put down that hair of his. So it needs to be here, a little bit like so. Yep. I think I'm making him muddy because I can't see. Let's soften this because this is too much. So let's soften that there. Nice. I think he's starting to get too dark. But there's a I still have a crimson tube as well, a heart. I had no idea when I bought it. A small tube though, lucky me. But you got to start somewhere and make mistakes before nail it. Better than never. If you can't see, use your camera to judge as well, because I can see a little better in darker light, even though it's not perfect. I do that sometimes when I stream and I can't see my own painting. Oh, okay, but you know I don't have a camera available right now. I have to stop streaming. So, but okay, all right. I'll definitely try that. Or do you mean just pointed this on the camera and well, maybe I could do that. Sounds like a plan. It's not a bad idea, actually. But will I see it in true colors then? I don't think so, right? So I could hit it harder here. This is too light. Oops. Oops. The camera you're using right now, you probably see it on your OBS screen, although in your case it's hard to see details. OBS, I mean the software you use to stream with. Yeah, I'm using OBS right now. It's just I'm looking at my camera and I'm looking at the painting, and camera is making it way more saturated than it actually is. And it is extremely obvious. Do you know where? Here. Like the camera is really hitting a contrast hard because when you think about it, you would never be able to do such a bright orange like with something that is a couple decades old. There were not such a strong dyes. I don't think even right now we have such a strong dyes. Plus, this is linen, I believe, the fabric it is made of. So it's like really pushing it extremely saturated. Right, so it's crazy. It's crazy how high the saturation is. And it's because camera cannot really, like in this darkness, I don't have a good camera. Well, you know, like, well, I don't have a, well, it's about the camera lens and light conditions and so on and so forth, you know, but you have these little bit more expensive cameras that can get a little bit more, with bigger sensors, so they can get a little bit more light from the environment. Not mine. Mine is just a, you know, like the entry-level Sony. I think it's called vlogging camera. So but I will definitely maybe do something with the setup on that, like a settings, I mean, with the camera. So I could use that method maybe, just at least to see it with the different eyes. Because I'm looking at it right now and it's just, true, it looks better on the camera than in real life. Well, I don't think that it can, I don't believe that it can reach 100% accuracy, but what I know is that what if I said, how would I put this? I just want to put it in a nice coherent statement. The ratio between a price and quality, I don't think it's a good ratio. And when I say I don't think it's good, I mean that, you know, it's just, what's the famous wrong English grammar? More expensive, more better, or whatever, more good, more better. It's not necessarily a, see, I'm just making him flat. I can tell that I'm making him flat. I should probably stop because it's just going to be too much of erasing tomorrow or scraping, which is not a bad thing, but let me correct his ear, and I think it's going to be enough for today because it's really dark, and I can tell that it's dark because my camera is starting to lag a bit. The lighter value here, and then like a touch right here, and then a nice kind of a that angle. Hair, it's going here, like so, and here. And there, there's like a little lighter area right here. Because of that, I want to create a little bit of a little bump there because of that a string that it's, and maybe a little bit of bigger. This area, and then let's go find the center for his mouth. Okay, and then maybe I can just shape the nose a little better. Do I have a dark room? Right, I have a dark room. There's a darker value right here. Yeah, I'm destroying it right now. It's already getting muddy, I can tell. Never mind. Let's have a little bit of this here. The lighter area right there. And then I need it a little bit here. A little bit here. Let me just grab this is going to be a light right there. There. To hair. Oops. And into here. A little cheek. Let's make it nice rose pigment. transition, a little softer transition. Okay, so I need to, and I need to push this a little bit more. But that I could push with a darker value here, but I'm just going to make a little note here that this needs to be connected. And it goes here. I think it goes all the way here. And there is going to be a white color there. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so we have this. And let me do one more thing before I end. Because I think it's going to be kind of important to do that. Where do I have paper towels? Because I really can't see. I can't. I'm trying to, but I can't. And you can see like I'm starting to mush it together and I'm losing that freshness of that painting. Price quality is way too steep. Yeah, it's way too steep. It's just, I don't even want to start that discussion because it's really expensive when it comes to cameras. And like I said, it's like it's 100 times more expensive, and you know it's what. It's really incremental improvement. So, I mean, okay, so I'm going to need to do that. I want to do that golden thing here. So, well, it's not golden, it's brass. So it should be somewhere here. Like so. And then here. So I'm creating a little bit of texture there, preparing for what it's ahead of me. Right, and right now I can go a little bit more, a little lighter. So there's going to be like this way and then a little. Sketching a little up here. So I'm getting like a little interesting, you know, like a pattern there. So it nicely flows. And the reason why I'm doing this because it's a yellow ochre and it's going to dry forever. So I have to put it there. Hopefully I'm in the right spot, the right area. It's slowly starting to come together. It's not exactly as ahead as I want it to be, or you know, according to schedule, but you know, it could be worse. it could be old me and just starting with it. You know, as I know myself, you just, yeah, I still have 2 days. Oh man, how I miss those days. Or maybe truly, no, I don't miss them, but you know what I mean. Good old memories. And then one, it's just like here. Okay. Because there's going to be a lot of patterning that I have to do, you know, so. So this is going to be this, and it's going to be working nicely when I put the like really high saturation orange there. I think it's going to work nicely. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So I think it's going to be enough for today, which is kind of annoying because I have a lot of pigments just thrown around, and I'm just going to scrape it and throw it away because it's just not gonna cut it for tomorrow. That head looks awesome already. You like it? Nice, cool. Yeah, it's just a you know, it's just a little bit of. I mean, like you said, I'm not that skillful when it comes to patterns, but this kind of a metallic stuff, I was working on that a night, and I kind of tested a bunch of things, so I'm not worried about that much. But I am not familiar with making a, like on his vest, I'm looking at the photograph right now, he has a lot of kind of a, it's like a leather shiny kind of stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to include it, or maybe I can just leave it as it is, as the underpainting, and just, you know, a paint on top of it, like a little bit of that. Then I similarly with that kind of a brass color, I have to do a little, what is it? It's not the button, but little like something that this is his a jacket. I have to make a better edge right here. This is his jacket, and it's like a strap around with it's also a leather belt kind of a thing. And then this should probably go darker, like a richer like a darker leather. So it's like, it's not even darker. The fact is that since it has been used for so many decades, it has these, like, you know, it has that kind of beautiful. It's not the patina, but it's like it has like a beautiful where you can tell it has been used. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So tomorrow I have to work on the ear a little bit more. Should probably get rid of this because it doesn't belong there. So, oops, shouldn't probably wipe it there on the corner. I mean, this is a bad habit that I picked at the academy in St. Petersburg, that I take it and I don't have a paper towel, and what they used to do, they just wipe it on the corner of a canvas. It's just, it's such a bad habit, but you know, and then, you know why? Because then this is exactly where you're holding it, and then you're moving it around and your hands are dirty. But it's just, it's because I like to paint with fingers a lot. And I used to paint even more with fingers when I was at the academy, and it's just the little piece of the little edge right here. It works beautifully for wiping fingers, or wiping paint off of fingers. You noticed that? Okay, yeah. Trust me, that's what. that's like a, that's like a you know, like these I don't know, like these like big schools, they have these clubs and they have a secret handshake that you know, when you know, right? So this is a secret handshake, I think. And you can tell immediately that that's what's up, that's what's happening. And it's usually because masters at the academy, they're kind of involved sometimes in the painting, and students, they don't have art supplies, anything, right? So he comes and he's looking like, where I'm supposed to wipe it. So there usually comes and they're wiping their fingers all over the student's stuff. So it's just a, it's a secret handshake. Yeah, it's exactly very well, because that's you know, it's just such a net. It's because you are here, because with one hand you're holding your, because it just, you really go in and you're just trying to get rid of that, and it hits it differently when you're wiping it with your fingers. It's just, it doesn't, it's just, it's a different texture that you're creating. So you're smoothing it out. Like some of these, it's not smudging. It creates a different texture. Nothing come close to this, and you can create a beautiful, really soft transitions. So it's just a nice kind of a soft edge that you can't create with anything else but with wiping it with the fingers. All right, I think that's it for today. I don't think I can get any further. Let me just flip it upside down to see whether or not. And of course, I flipped it upside down, and what did I do? I just put my hands, oops, don't go anyway. I'm pretty sure that I put my hands into that. All right, stay, don't move. I made a good progress, you think so? Well, that's just, you know, there is no way to, I think it works. I think the size of the head works right now. It's just, I have to make sure that I will hit the likeness. But trust me, it is not as much of a problem right now, and I will describe very quickly why. Because this area right here, right now, is a separate object. It's not connected to this. Right now, I'm going to bring, I'm going to start working on this, and as I lay down the pigment from left to right, and it's going to vary, these relationships are not going to work, because right now you're looking at it as two separate objects. And the reason why right now it feels it's harmonized, because the large area, the canvas, the underpainting, the vest, the hands, the feet, they are all kind of color harmonized. This is disconnected, that's why it's working. Or I'll bring this all the way up here, and suddenly you're just going to judge the colors around. That's when the problems are going to start. So it's because it's disconnected. These are different paintings. This is a portrait, and this is a sleeve, and these are pens. But right now, to come, because check this out, this is a shadow probably, most likely should be shadow if he's inside. If he's outside, then it's like if it's a weather like this, it's overcast, so this might be a halftone, but I have to create, see, I jumped from light to halftone without considering this shadow right here. I would have to key this shadow to what? To hand? Of course to hand, but then what if I'm going to start painting hand, and hand needs to be somehow related to these parts? I know how much more problems it is ahead of me. And everything's going to be thrown out under the bus or out of the window the moment I want to change something with the silhouette. Because then I would have to bring a background pigment. And if I'm going to start bringing a background pigment, which is going to open the whole a whole nother Pandora box. You don't wear gloves, so you try to avoid that, or wear gloves before doing that. You know what? I am wearing gloves right now for a medical reasons, and also I'm trying to show you that it is possible to work every day with gloves non-stop. I heard many of my friends that they have a problems with skin, that they just don't like to wear gloves. I know it's annoying at the beginning because it feels weird, but you're gonna get used to it. And here's the thing, you will have to get used to it if you want to continue painting. But nothing else, nothing will get you such a beautiful transition as a smudging it with the naked finger, well, with the bare fingers. It's just, there's something, you can control the pressure, control the pressure, and if you press a lot and lift it, you can create a little bit of texture, or you can just slowly, lightly kind of smooth all these transitions if you want to. I mean, it's probably the best painting tool that you have, your finger. I'm sorry, even though it is the best painting tool that I have, and I have 10 of them, because I use all of them, I use also the side, and the side of a palm, and but that means that I'm not encouraging you to start touching everything. It's dangerous. You're working with chemicals. So if you want to work with your fingers and bare hands and touch the pigments, please do not use solvents. Use linseed oil. If you use linseed oil, you're fine. It's nothing should happen to you, because linseed oil, it does not, as far as I understand the chemistry behind that, linseed oil does not destroy these molecular bonds, and it does not dissolve it to the point that it could pierce through the skin, right? So it's never going to be that thin to go through the skin if you use oil. The moment you start using solvents and I don't know, other mineral spirits and I don't know, Gemsol and so on and so forth, that's where it starts going into your pigments. So if you paint with the pigment and linseed oil, you can touch it as much as you want. It's never going to get into your system unless you're going to start eating it, of course. But you know, I assume that if you are aware, if you are, if you can turn on your computer and watch the stream, I assume that you understand that you should not eat your pants as well. That's because that's what I want to say. So be careful with that. You can definitely work with your fingers. I'm using I'm using gloves right now because I have a solvent right here, because I'm looking for different textures and different kind of a consistency of the pigment. But be careful. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's, I don't know, I would like to continue, but I can't today because it's really, really dark. You can see like my palette is really dark. Let me just turn on the light so you get what I'm talking about. Let's bring I'm used to go around because the canvas is there, but right now I can turn it on from here. So welcome to the world of orange. Ta-da! So this is how dark it is here. I could barely see what's happening here. So let's flood it with light a little bit. So this is how dark was it here. And I can tell, you can see that, all the relationship change and so on and so forth. So I'm not even going to look at the painting because I would get annoyed, and I would, and naturally, I would start remixing pigments and placing them and correcting them according to this light. And you can tell that I started with kind of a nice mixtures, and then you see like these are already starting to be dirty. So this is the time for you to wipe your palette, clean it, if you don't have enough space. And I shouldn't go back to these because check this out. This is a nice fresh mixture right here. These are, you can't see it because it's a light reflection. Can I make a shadow? No, I can't. Anyway, the orange one, it's a nice clear pigment, and I placed it there. And I told you that I'm muddying it because I was judging it against this, so it's muddy. But it's okay. It's okay. World of Orange. Yeah, it's where I live for the second half of the day. So it's a darkness, medieval darkness, and then the World of Orange. So yeah. But anyway, I don't want to waste your time with me complaining about orange light because it's an easy fix. But laziness, step by step. Camera was working the whole day. Yes, the whole stream, or the whole day, whole stream. So that's something that we didn't see or haven't seen yet. So I'm excited about that. And another thing that I'm excited about is seeing you tomorrow. I'm going to be here same time around 12. I want to start. Maybe because of the deadline that I have, I might start sooner. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible again, because if it's a bad light, it doesn't really matter what I'm going to do. I'm not going to change anything. But tomorrow, I'm probably going to leave portrait as is, and I'm going to start messing around with hands. And maybe I should just go get that instrument. So I would have a reference. The only problem is that I remember I told you that I wanted to have it light and a dark pattern. I think that my father's, it's dark with light pattern on the top. I have to check it. His one is like a really rich, like a dark red or dark brownish reddish color. So let's see. Anyway, it was awesome today. There's a bunch of stuff that we did today. At least the minimum of work is there that I wanted to do. Tomorrow I might actually, of course, the hands, and in between I might start working on the pattern because this is really a nice surface. So I might off the camera work on the pattern design. And let's see how much I'll be able to get. So, like I said, it was awesome to be here. It was awesome to discussing cool stuff. The paints and pigments that we, I should probably mention this more often about the books that are not necessarily misleading, but they're outdated. That was an awesome part of that creative discourse. The topic that you guys started, and also we talked a little bit about about that not necessarily color harmony, but about the division, that I don't have anything that it's surrounded. So right now it is a separate portrait. So even though it might looks good right now, I can't really get fooled by that because I still have to connect it. And you remember, you might have seen these pictures of what was it? I think it was a Chinese suspended bridge that they just they wanted to connect in the middle because they started from both sides, and it was they didn't. There was a mistake with the measurements, so that's what it is. You have that, you're gonna try to connect it, or was it not Chinese? I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody, but it was really a calculation mistake. So I'll be satisfied when this will be connected. And I wouldn't recommend you to do this and then leave it and let it dry, because I have a lot of hard edges right here. I'm gonna get in tomorrow and I'm gonna work on the strap and I'm gonna work on the vest, because I need to connect this area, because this needs to be, well, of course, hands, but since I will have a pigment on and ready, I'm just gonna work back and forth, because another problem is I need to actually connect his head with his hands. So they look like it belong to the same person, and he has a specific hands. And not only that, he has a specific hands, there is also a specific position of how is he holding it, and it's kind of a weird angle. So, and I don't have a good reference, so on and so forth. So let's see let's see how bad it is going to be tomorrow. So, but anyway, I enjoyed it enormously today. It was another, I would say, successful experiment with Bad Painting Friday, and it worked. So let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. Have a beautiful and awesome rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.